Big Daddy here with a KDE version of Antergos. So I figured it may not work optimum because of being on USB, but I figured we'd record trying to install it from a normal everyday user trying to install an Arch distribution. Now, I have already installed Arch distributions, just not the real hard ones, just not from scratch. You know, like I've done Manjaro and one other one, I believe, but yeah, let's jump into it. So we're going to hit install. We're going to choose English because that's what my language is. All right, this is all good. It's up to date. And they have it set to English Australia, but we're going to change it to English US. Time zone New York, that's fine. English for the keyboard layout, that's good. Okay, now here you get to choose which one you want to install. Now, I already did install the Cinnamon version of Antergos, and I did a small review on it. So I'm not going to do that one. I'm going, and you know, it's a toss-up. Mate, KDE. I guess we're going to go KDE. I know the video says KDE, so that's what we're going with. But I'm afraid that if I try KDE, I won't want to try Mate. Because I know I like it. Okay, so here is where Antergos interjects like some really nice features for new or not so experienced users for Arch. So the AUR, if you don't know, is a repository section of all kinds of software, and you definitely want to turn that on, in my opinion. Bluetooth support, yeah, Chromium web browser. The Google fonts, I don't know if you need them, but heck, we'll put them on. Firefox web browser, Flash, NVIDIA drivers, the kernel, I honestly don't know which one to choose for the kernel. I don't know if you want this or not turned on. So it's off by default, so I guess we're going to leave it that way. LibreOffice, I guess, sure. Printing support now, most people will leave that on. I don't have a printer hooked up, so I don't need that. Steam, play on Linux, yep. Uncomplicated firewall, sure. And Windows sharing, I don't need. So those are what I'm going to choose. We're going to hit next, and it'll be the firewall will be installed with these rules. I don't normally go in and change any of the rules on the firewall. I just install it, and it depends. Sometimes I turn it on, sometimes I don't. Some people say you need it, some people say you don't. So, okay, so the Arch user repository is a collection of user-submitted packages that supplement software available from the official repository. So that's basically, that's where the power comes from Arch, where if you just went through the main repositories, you would have limited software. But with the Arch user repository, that means pretty much anybody can make a package and upload it. Now, I don't think that would, I don't know if that would cause a security risk or not, but I would assume that they get vetted somehow. I don't know. So this is a community-driven and not supported by Arch or Antergos, so it's basically just users submitting these packages. So, how would you like to proceed? Do you want to erase the disk and install Antergos? No, I don't, because I have multiple hard drives on here, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to choose exactly, or in other installers, it'll say the something else option. So we're going to hit the next button. And this is where, see, now that went instantly. Most installers that I run on my computer, and I would assume that's because I have two NTFS drives, a 2 terabyte drive, a couple solid states in here, they hesitate, and they sometimes hesitate, like Linux Mint might just spin on waiting to get, scanning the disks and waiting to get to here for a good 10 minutes. So that went instantly. Now I am not brave enough right at the moment to install it on my main drive. I guess I should be, but I'm not. I'm just going to install it to one of my other drives. So now it's usually F. So there you go, F. So that is a 25 gigabyte partition, and I am going to hit edit. I don't need to label it. We're going to leave it on the ext4, and we're going to do the mount point as root. And for that, I'm going to format it. So once you hit apply, you'll come back here, and you scroll down to F again, and this will be the swap, and that will automatically format the swap partition. You don't need to, I don't even think you can check that box. And this would be the home partition. Now I separate this drive like this so that if I go to another operating system, or if I have to reinstall, just like I do my main drive, I partition it so that I don't normally, like if I was just going to reinstall the operating system, I would say this would be my home, and I wouldn't format it. And I would hit apply, and what that would do is it would format the main part of the system, so reinstall the system itself, but not reinstall the home folder, not format it, I mean. So what that means is you keep all your settings, you keep all your documents, you don't have to back anything up. But for this, I don't have any documents on my test drive, so we're going to format that. And I don't want any leftover settings from other operating systems messing with it, so because that's possible. Now, this is supposed to be free space. Now it says it's the ext4. Now I don't know if that means it wants to do ext4 or if that somehow got formatted. But let's see, up here. Yeah, see, it should say, like on my SDA, free space none. SDA 1, SDA 2. Yeah, see, free space 5 gigabytes. So that should say that on that one. So we're just going to delete that. And that's going to be free space. That's what most of the experts, not myself, but most of the experts say to do for a solid state drive is leave a 4 to 5 gigabyte partition at the end so it doesn't wear out the drive. So here is the mount checklist, which means they just give you this to say yes, you did a root partition, yes, you have a swap, so you're good. And this is where the bootloader will be installed. If you could make a bootloader partition, but I don't ever see that being necessary. So I just always leave it on the drive that I'm installing it. So I don't want to do it on SDA because that's my main drive, and that will blow up my bootloader for my main system. So I usually install the bootloader right to the main drive of whatever you're installing it on. So this is F, and that's F. And there you go. We're going to hit next, and it's going to say, warning, it's already mounted. Do you want to continue? It will be unmounted. Yes. To continue, it will be unmounted. Yes. Okay, so this is a summary of what we just went through, our choices. So these are the programs we decided to install. This is the partitions we decided to use, and we're good to go. And we just hit next. Are you really sure you want to continue? Really? Are you really sure? Yes. Okay, so this is the time where you enter all your detailed information. So we're just going to put in here Big Daddy because that's me. And we'll just do yeah, there. Ooh, I forgot the R. Oh my gosh. So our username will be Big Daddy, and you can't have any spaces in there, and it all has to be lowercase. Now, I'm only going to pick a 4-letter password because this is just a test machine and I don't really care about it that much. So there's our info. And we hit save. And we'll just let it go through the install process. Hopefully we won't have any errors and it'll all go like it was planned to go. And we'll be able to be up and running with a brand new fresh KDE Antergos install. So this should be a Plasma 5.8.2. Well, that's what it looks like it's coming through as. So that's good. Latest stuff. So, you know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a big Arch user, but I watch these guys, and these guys are like, some of them are geniuses, and, you know, they get the itch going to install Arch again and just try it out. I don't normally run Arch because, well, one, it's harder than others. There are, you know, all these operating systems like Apricity and Antergos and OB Revenge, they make it easier to install Arch, and they really do make it easier. But there's some things that still are just not simple, you know, like, and they're not hard. They're just not as simple as clicking some buttons. So you get lazy and you don't really want to take the extra time or effort to do it. You just want it to work. But so, like I said, you get the itch every once in a while and you just want to try it out and see what you can do, and here you have it. So, well, while this is working, we can take a look around at the default stuff here in KDE from Antergos. So you got Brasero. Oh, I'm sorry, this would be the GNOME stuff, so we won't be able to see the KDE stuff. So we'll have to wait on that. But this is the GNOME part of it. And you know what? I don't know. I mean, I never really got into GNOME. I never really installed. I think I installed one GNOME distribution, and I deleted it like almost immediately. It just wasn't. I just never got a feel for it. So you got activities which show you different desktops, and you would have different windows here. So if you had a couple windows open and you hit activities, you could pick which one, and that's, you know, that's actually not bad. And the full screen launcher is not bad as well. So it's not like it's a bad operating system or a bad desktop environment. It's just, you know, I don't know. When I first started on Linux, Linux itself was so different than Windows, and GNOME was really different than most operating systems. So I just never, it's just like Ubuntu, the regular Unity Ubuntu. I never got into it. It's just, it was so not customizable. There were so many settings that you couldn't do that you could do in a KDE or an XFCE desktop environment. So it was like I was always working on them instead of working on this. So, okay, so I guess that's enough rambling for now, because this is supposed to be about installing Antergos. But you know me, I get off on my little tangents and talk away. So there really isn't much else to see anyway. Once this installs and it's done, it's going to ask you to reboot, and then I'm going to have to stop the video anyway. So that is the install for Antergos KDE version. And until next time, Big Daddy out.